Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adam the Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Hit Me, a superhero-themed push-your-luck card game by Thing 12 Games. Please do bear in mind that the designer of this game is a good friend of mine. While I will always endeavor to give my fair and honest reviews, please do keep my biases in mind as you watch this review. Without any further ado, let's dive in! In Hit Me, 2 to 6 players will take on the role of superheroes, or potentially villains. There's no real lore behind the characters, fighting amongst one another. To set up, give each player a shield card. Also deal out 2 character cards to each player, each of which will choose one to keep and discard the other. Keep your shield and your character face up nearby you. There's also a 12 card starter deck and a 60 card life deck. They look similar, but starter cards will have an S on the front in the bottom left corner of the card. Shuffle these 2 decks separately and deal out a life pile to each player consisting of an equal share of the life deck. This means each player will have 30 health in a 2-player game, but only 10 health in a 6-player game. Choose a player to go first, and you're ready to begin. Turn structure in Hit Me is quite simple. You'll draw from the starter deck, which I'll be referring to as the main deck from this point forward, 1 card at a time. You do not draw from your life deck. At the start of the game, there will only be 3 different types of cards in the deck. If you draw a whiff, it does nothing. If you draw a hit, you'll immediately assign it to another player, but it doesn't take effect until the end of your turn. If you draw a trip, this is where things start to get tense. Your first couple trip cards are safe, but if you draw 3 or more trips during your turn, then you bust. As long as you do not bust, you may continue drawing as many cards as you wish. If you decide to end your turn, then hits are counted up and each player must discard the appropriate number of cards from their life decks into a shared discard pile, which is also where the cards that you played from the main deck will go. However, if you bust, then all the hits that you played that turn will instead come back and damage you. So far, pretty simple. However, before long, that 12 card starter deck will run out. At this point, you'll reshuffle the discard pile, which will include cards from the life decks. Some of them are just more of the same, but others introduce new mechanics that change the math. Double hits and trips exist, as well as triple hits. Blocks and counters remove the last hit and trip cards played respectively, even if that last one was a double or triple. If you reveal a combo, you must play 2 additional cards. You can't stop if you want to, and even if you bust on the first one, you still have to play another. Sidekicks basically act as single hits that you can save for another turn. Traps will immediately hit you for 1 damage as soon as you play them.
It's a trap!
And potions get shuffled back into your life deck, which is the only method of healing that players will typically have access to. Because of these additional card types, rounds tend to ramp up pretty fast. There are a couple other important things to note. Firstly, the aforementioned shield cards. Each player starts with 1, and once per game, you may flip it face down to block all damage from a single turn. This can either be because you were the target of a large series of hits, or because you busted, but either way, you only get to do it once. The other point of note is character cards. Each of these has a different ability which can change the way that you play. Blue Stealer takes 1 less damage from every attack, while Commander Kokomo can use his shield card a second time, and Amazonia can peek at the top 3 cards of the deck and discard any that she doesn't want. Play will continue with players taking turns clockwise. If a player runs out of cards, they're eliminated from the game, and the last player standing is the winner. On to components, the only thing to really talk about are the cards. They're standard card game size with a textured finish. The standard cards are fairly simplistic, but invoke the familiar onomatopoeia of comic books. Though personally, I can't help but think of the 1960s Batman TV series. Each hero also has unique art, many of which contain some very clear illusions. All in all, Hit Me is a quick, lightweight game that makes a great filler title. The box says 20 to 30 minutes, but in my experience it's been more of 15 to 20, and it's not very often that I disagree with time estimates downwards. As for the game itself, it's easy to teach and a fun twist on a familiar mechanic. The way that the game ramps up as you add more cards to the main deck gives it a sense of escalation that most short games lack. On the downside, I do feel that the character cards can be fairly imbalanced. I'm not sure who the strongest character is, but I'm going to be very disappointed if my draws end up being the Professor and Necronomicon. There's also the fact that it makes it very easy for multiple players to gang up on one, and there's really nothing you can do about it at this point. But thankfully, the games are short, so you won't be sitting out for long at least. Regardless, it makes a great warm-up or cool-down title and can be played with casual gamers and even children. In conclusion, I find Hit Me to be worth of a solid 7.6 out of 10. If you're interested in purchasing Hit Me, my first suggestion, as always, is to check with your friendly local game store to see if they can get it in stock. If you're unable to find it, or simply wish to learn more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Hit Me? What Press Your Luck titles do you enjoy? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow Fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.